Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our fall Zoomcast series. My name is Robert Crowder. I'm the president and founder of the Benefits Trust. With us today from the Benefits Trust is Mike Ignatz. He's here somewhere. Where there's he's giving us a big wave, as well as Carrie Lane. Carrie Lane is in the middle of my screen. I'm not sure where she is on your screen. Rob Crowder, my son, is with us as well. Has just joined us more in the sales department in the last 6 months after a 5-year stint with us. So on behalf of all of us at the Benefits Trust and those that are on the call, we'd like to thank you for coming and participating today in our fall Zoomcast series. And when I look at these sessions, and when I look at sessions like this and others, and for example, the sessions that Dave Patriarch puts on at CGIB, and if you're not a member of that, you should be, join cgib.ca. Check it out. Lots of great stuff on there. But when we're in sessions like this, the way I look at it is if you can walk away with one good idea, whether you pick it up from what I'm presenting today or anybody else from the Benefits Trust is presenting, or somebody else is joining in on the conversation. And if you can pick up that one good idea, I think it's time well spent. So on behalf of, again, all of us here at the Benefits Trust, we want to welcome you. The idea of this is not to be the smartest person in the room, but it be in a room where everybody gets smarter. And that's one thing that we do well in the insurance business is share information. And that's what we're here to do today. We're about to share some information. We're at the following the presentation, we're going to send you a very short survey. It's really only a few questions. So please take a few moments to fill it out. It does a couple of things. It shows your participation in the event for the CE credits, as well as that, it gives us some feedback on how we can do this better tomorrow versus how we did it today. As well as that, Mike, let's give Mike, where are you again on the screen? Let's give you a little wave here, Mike. Mike's going to be sending you CE credits following the event today. So that'll happen in the next couple of days, but Mike's going to send you those CE credits. And we really appreciate it if you got your cameras on, because this is about participating in today's event. So please feel free to raise your hand, jump in if I say anything, or anybody from the Benefits Trust says anything crazy, or you want to challenge us on something, or you've got some thoughts that you'd like to add to enhance it. Again, it's about being in a room where everybody gets smarter. Please just jump in. As well as that, use the chat box for everybody to see, or if you want to send a direct chat, please do so. But if you send a chat for everybody to see, or you have a question, either Mike or Carrie or Rob might answer it during the presentation, as well as we can give you feedback if we need more information and get back to you following the presentation. So again, lots of people on the call, just over 50 right now. So cameras on would be much appreciated. And thank you very much for coming. Let me share my screen. Let me do that right now. And let's get started. So we're talking about know your client. And I spoke about this at the recent CGIB event. And if you were there, fantastic. If you weren't there, you missed a great day. But we're talking about know your corporate client. It's important that, when you're looking at life insurance or you're looking at investments and so on, it's important that you know your client. And I know the investment advisor that I deal with, we have to do this on an annual basis, but we don't really look at it too often in the corporate sense, especially with our employee benefit clients. So today's topic is really about knowing your corporate client. And we want to talk today about a few to a bunch, as I like to call it, profitable clients with 5 to 20 employees. So our agenda today is quite straightforward. And this is really right out of the FSRA VISPRA website on eligible CE credits. So that's what we're here for, as well as CE credits. And this is what they said would be an opportune agenda, should we say, to follow to be eligible for these CE credits. So it's client needs analysis, which is important. And again, we're talking about group insurance clients, understanding risks and how to manage them, reporting and accounting considerations, tax considerations, and then, of course, question and answer and discussion. So please feel free to jump in anytime. Just either interrupt me, put your hand up, whatever it is. And if you want to shout out, do so on the chat box as well, whatever you're most comfortable with. But again, it's about being in a room where everybody gets smarter. So point of view, where we're sort of coming from this is I smell an enormous opportunity. I've never been more excited to sell employee benefits than I have today. And the reason is when I was putting this presentation together over the last little while, there are 400, I found just with a couple of keystrokes, on the Google, as I like to say, on the Google, there was 449,770 businesses in Ontario. 440,000 of those businesses have less than 100 full-time employees. 440 of those 440,000 businesses in Ontario with less than 100 employees. Now, we might have some folks on the call from other provinces, but we're focused just here on Ontario for the purpose of this. But the numbers are very similar in other provinces. But when you think about that marketplace, it makes me think of Willie Sutton, the bank robber in the 1930s. This guy robbed 60 some odd banks in the 1930s, and he had two really good skills. Number one, robbing banks, and number two, breaking out of prisons. He was very successful at breaking out of prisons. And he was in front of a judge one time, and they said, Willie, you've robbed 30 banks or 40 banks at this point. Why do you keep robbing banks? And he goes, because that's where the money is. That's where the money is. And when you think about it, in Ontario, with less than 100 full-time employees, there are 440,000 businesses, 440,000 opportunities. That's where the money is, without a doubt. It's in the smaller end of the marketplace. And when we get down to, employers with 5 to 20 employees is what we're going to talk about today, because I think there's 3 distinct groups. We've done a session already on the smaller groups, the 1 to 5, the micro groups. We're going to do one shortly on the 20 to 100 employees, but really focus today on that 5 to 20 group. And there's endless prospects. There's easily probably 300,000 of those 440,000 businesses in that space right there with 5 to 20 employees. The other exciting things is a lot of these employers do have benefits, but a lot of them don't have benefits. Now, this is where the opportunity is being created right now. A lot of opportunities, a lot of employers, more employers today versus yesterday are looking at benefits, because there was a survey that was put out. And even though we've got a potential recession looming, it's kind of interesting because there's still a market for employees. We're still looking. We hired an employee yesterday. We're still looking to hire more employees. There's a lot of employers out there that are looking to hire employees. 76% of employees that are looking for jobs said they won't go to a job without benefits. We've had more clients that have come to us that have never had benefits before, where they're looking to start a benefit plan because they have to, out of demands of their current and future employees. So there's endless prospects in this marketplace, without a doubt. So today, again, we're talking about a few employees to a bunch, 5 to 20, and I'm using these 3 different categories just as sort of guidelines, but certainly 5 to 20, because I think decisions are made differently in each category. So we want to talk today about benefits purchasing decisions and how they're made differently in each category. We want to talk about that one particular group. But the question that I have is, how can you provide value-added service at a profit? How can you do this and provide value-added service at a profit? And through this lens, we're going to explore. So before we do that, the Benefits Trust was established on January 1st, 1994. We've been around for a while. We've since 2001, we've worked directly with advisors like yourselves. So during that time, I think I've been in probably well over 10,000 meetings where I've been sitting in front of, a lot of times with advisors, but sitting in front of clients and asking them to purchase services. And the question is, how do we do this, at a profit? Because you got to have a lot of transactions, without a doubt. You've got to have, 20 of these groups or 40 of these groups or 100 of these groups, depending on what your financial goals are, to make money at it. But the question is, if you're going to have a lot of these transactions, how do you do it at a profit? And this is how we're going to look through this. Again, the disclaimer, we started this on January 1st, 1994. Our target market is less than 100 employees. These are our views and our opinions, right? This is just, hey, you signed up. We're going to share with you our views and our opinions and our knowledge and our experience in this space. As I mentioned, I've probably had 10,000 meetings in this space, and this is not a commercial for the Benefits Trust, because it wouldn't be eligible for CE credits if it was. So this is not a commercial for the Benefits Trust, but feel free to ask us anything you want or visit thebenefitstrust.com, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. In addition to that, we're going to share with you some examples of how we've helped people in this area, but again, not a commercial for us. So client needs analysis. Few to a bunch. Just checking the time here. A few to a bunch. Why is this important? Why is it important? It's interesting, because when I was putting this presentation together, and talking to my colleagues at the Benefits Trust and talking to Dave Patriarch and some others that I was talking to, why is client needs analysis so important? And I think the biggest reason, it's there to protect you. It's there to protect you, the professional advisor. This is really going to help you determine if the case is going to be profitable for you in the long run. If you know what the client is doing, you know where the client is going, right? You're able to best help them, right? It's as simple as that. If you know where the client is going and what they're doing and where they're hoping to be in the future, you're in a position to best help them. It's as simple as that. And if you don't know where they're going and you don't know how you can help them, it's not going to be a profitable case, because you're going to be doing a whole bunch of work, because you're going to be showing them, if you're a travel agent, you're going to be showing them trips to Ireland, where I just was last week. You're going to be showing them trips to Tahiti, and you're going to be showing them trips to Los Angeles. Well, you don't know where they're going, so you're doing all this work and pricing out all these things, but you don't know what they want, right? So it's not profitable. It's there to, client needs analysis is really there to protect you. The other thing that comes to mind when looking at this is, I think some clients, some prospects, we all know people like this, but businesses are like this as well. Some clients and prospects spend a lot of time trying to save money. Some of you are like that. You spend a lot of time trying to save money. And there are other people, other clients, other prospects, other businesses that they're willing to spend a lot of money to save time. You're willing to spend a lot of money at the same time. There's a distinct difference there. And quite frankly, and personally, I like to work with people and like to surround myself with people that are interested in spending a lot of money to save time, because they know they can make more money in other places, right? So it's kind of interesting. But when you know where somebody is going, you're able to help them, and they're prepared to look at you as an expert and take that help. So client needs analysis. You have to know where the client is going. And how do you do that? Well, you ask. And you ask future-based questions. And it's really interesting. I've always been this way since I started in professional sales, if you would. But the best question I got was from Dan Sullivan from the Strategic Coach. Many of you may know his stuff. But I've been a Strategic Coach member, I would say, for 30 years or more. But this came up sort of about 10, maybe 12 years ago. And the question is quite simple. If we were meeting here 3 years from now and you were looking back over those 3 years, what has to have happened for you to say it's been the best 3 years of your life? So you're putting the individual that you're asking this question for, the business that you're asking this question for, you're asking them to put themselves out 3 years. And then you're asking them to look back and say, what's happened over that 3 years for it to be the best 3 years of your life? And it's an incredibly powerful question. And it's interesting. I use this question all the time. I use this question in business meetings. I use this question at dinner parties. I use this question, hanging out with my friends. I use this question with strangers on airplanes. And it's fascinating the results that you get back, because you're asking a great question. You're asking them about the future and what has to happen in the future for them to say it's been the best 3 years of their life. Like, what a great question. And I got to give Dan Sullivan credit for it, but it's going to tell you, it's going to give you a roadmap of where the client is going. They're going to give you very clear, concise, and specific answers. They're going to show you or tell you if they're going to grow. They're going to tell you if they're going to sell. They're going to tell you if they're going to merge. They're going to tell you if they're going to retire. They're telling you if they're going to enter into new markets, if they're going to develop new products, come up with new partnerships, what their short and long-term horizons are. It's amazing. I remember asking this question or something very similar to it a number of years ago. And the client said, I hope to be out of this business, and we want to just grow this business to take it public, and then we want to be gone. So there was a very short-term horizon, but it gave me a very clear, concise, and specific answer of what needed to be done and where they wanted to go to help them achieve their results, right? But you're sitting there saying, hey, I want to grow my business, and I want to grow my business by 30% over the next 3 years. Fantastic. How are you going to achieve that growth? What can we do to help? From an employee benefit perspective, it's amazing when you think about where you are going. If you know where the client is going, as professional advisors on how to help them. But in order to be able to help them, you got to know where they're going. So you got to ask the question. Other great questions to ask after that after that question is, what are your biggest fears? We talked about this when we were at the CGIB meeting and I was presenting there. What are your biggest fears? What are my biggest fears? Loss of money, loss of reputation, to name a few. Money has always been a fear of mine, right? And I don't like to lose money. It's as simple as that. What strengths do you want to capitalize on? Great question. What strengths do you want to capitalize on? A great question to ask, because everybody's got different strengths in there. And you think about it, if I ask any one of you this question, what strengths do you want to capitalize on? And I know there's, however many people are on the call right now, but lots, but, everybody's going to have different answers on what their strengths are and what they want to capitalize on. What is giving you confidence looking into the future? I'm looking at this as an employee, as a TPA, right? That's what we are, as a third-party benefit administration company, as many of you know. Or TPA, and what's giving me confidence looking into the future? Well, I just said it, 440,000 clients in Ontario with less than 100 employees. That's given me a great deal of confidence. There's a huge opportunity out there, an enormous opportunity out there. More and more companies are looking for advisors to provide them with solutions and or to provide them with direction, quite frankly, direction. And that's what's giving me confidence. So these are great questions to ask. If we were meeting here 3 years from today, what has to happen for you to feel it's been the best 3 years of your life? And what are your biggest fears? What strengths do you want to capitalize on? What future is going to give you, or what's going to give you confidence looking into the future? This is all about client needs analysis. This future-based conversation is going to give you a clear picture of where the client is going and how you can help them. It's going to give you that clear picture of where they are going. And you need to really understand that in order to help them out. You are the expert. You need to understand that and to be able to help them out. If they're not going to engage with you, what do you say? I like to say next. There's 440,000 prospects. Okay, let's go get another one. It's as simple as that. I remember talking to one guy about this, or one company about this many years ago, and I was asking him some of these questions, and he goes, "Listen, I don't want to engage. I don't want to answer a bunch of your questions. I just want you to find me the cheapest benefit plan that we can have that's going to keep the union out." I said, "Thank you very much, but I can't help you out." His time horizon was tiny. He was always going to look for a cheaper solution. I didn't want to engage with. He didn't want to engage with me. I was just saying next. If you don't like where they're going next, this was an example of a combination of both of these things. This particular individual, the company did not want to engage, and they did not. I don't like where they were going. So guess what? Interviews are two ways. We chose to move a different direction. The guy was shocked. We walked out of the business. Simple as that. So it's about understanding risks and how to manage them is the next thing on the agenda. And, when we look at that, understanding risks and how to manage them, it's really our job. Our job as professional advisors is more of a translator. More of a translator. We need to translate a lot of things to our clients and our prospects. And we need to use language that helps your client understand. I remember being in a meeting not too long, or actually it was a couple of years ago now, probably about 3 years ago now, and the meeting was not going well. I was with an advisor, and it was before the pandemic. Now that I think about that 2-year period that sort of disappeared, right? But I was with this particular client and this advisor, and it was pretty much a cold call. But the client is sitting back in his chair, and he's got his arms crossed like this, and the questions that the advisor is asking is kind of disjointed, and the answers are cold and very shallow that the client was giving us. And I said, whoa, stop for a second. And I said, "Hey, what is a benefit plan?" And I don't know where this came from. I have no idea where it came from, but what is a benefit plan? And the guy says, "It's what we're talking about today. It's this group life crap and so on." I said, "No, a benefit plan is a promise. It's a promise between you, the employer, and a group of employees. Our job as a professional advisors is to be a translator and help translate some of the words that we use in our language, in our insurance world, and translate those into English for a client, an end user client, to understand." So our role as that translator is to help them understand. And it was really interesting when I used that term. A benefit plan is a promise between an employer and a group of employees. A light bulb went off in his head. His body language changed. He moved forward, and all of a sudden, that word promise really stuck in my mind, because it's true. When you think about that, Mary Frances, if I make you a promise, that's something very strong that I'm saying to you. I'm making you a promise that I am going to do something, right? It's a very powerful term. It's something that people certainly understand. Leanne, I'm going to make you a promise that I'm going to, do something. It's a strong and powerful word. So when you say to, but I get to choose what that promise is going to be, right? So when you use that language with a client, they sort of get it. The light bulb goes off in their head, and I like to say is, what do you want to promise your employees? What do you want to promise your employees? You're promising that you're going to pay them every other week or every week. You promise that you're going to, give them 3 weeks vacation or whatever the number is. You promise you're going to give them free parking and a holiday party. You promise that you're going to reimburse their expenses if they go to the dentist up to 80%. That's a promise that you are making them. As I like to say, great, what do you want to promise them? And then we discuss that to a certain extent. And I say there are 2 types of promises that you can make. There are low frequency, high cost promises, and there are high frequency, low cost promises. It's as simple as that. Like, let's just boil this down. What do you want to promise? And there are high cost, low frequency, high cost things, and there are high cost, low frequency things. Did I get that right? High frequency, low cost. You know what I'm saying. You can all read that. But it's interesting. But when you look at a low frequency, high cost promise, that's just a promise that requires insurance. If I'm going to make any one of our 30 employees a promise that say, hey, if they die, God forbid, they die while they're employed, I'm going to pay their beneficiary $25,000. Yeah, I can write the check for $25,000. Do I want to? Absolutely not. The chance of it happening is so remote. But if it does happen, I want to make sure that I keep the promise. I have to, because my word depends on it. Right? So it's as simple as that. I want to buy insurance to protect that promise so it continues into perpetuity. Things like group life, group AD&D, long-term disability. If I'm going to make this new employee who's 20-something years old a promise, then I'm going to continue her income till she's 65. We hired a new employee the other day. Till she's 65, I'm going to continue 2/3 of her income till she's 65, and she's 22 years old or 25 years old. Well, holy smokes, that could be millions of dollars. I want to make sure that I have insurance to protect the integrity of the promise so that promise can continue with all the other employees. So this high cost promise requires insurance, things like the group life, the AD&D, long-term disability, critical illness, out-of-country emergency travel coverage, stop loss for in-Canada drugs. This is something that clients understand. They see this and they go, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it. And then the second component is the high frequency, low cost promise that really doesn't require insurance. It's budgeting. Extended healthcare, prescription drugs, vision, dental, short-term disability, which is not listed here because very few people have it, but prescription drugs. Hey, I'm going to make you a promise that I'm going to pay for your prescription drugs up to, for example, 80%, up to $1 million a year. We're going to cover those drugs should you need them, and they need to be prescribed by a physician. Fantastic. Well, it's not sudden, it's not unexpected, it's not catastrophic, it's high frequency, but it's low cost. I'm going to take the generic equivalent of Lipitor tonight. Cholesterol management. Wahoo. I'm 58 years old, fat. There you go. I got to take it, right? It's pennies a day. My employer is making a promise that they're going to cover me for those drugs, so I show up to work today. Awesome. Right? It doesn't require insurance, it requires effective budgeting. Insurance companies, 90% of them, are doing this, and TPA, it's effective budgeting. That's all it is effective budgeting. So when I talk to clients about this, again, through advisors, because we only sell through advisors, is understanding risks and how to manage them. It's saying to the client, hey, terrific, you've told me where you want to grow, you're growing your business, you're merging your business, you're entering into new markets, whatever your circumstances are. Right? Do you want to define the benefit, or do you want to define the contribution, or do you want a combination of both, or a hybrid type of plan? Right? And this creates a very powerful conversation. This slide right here, because we can define the benefit where the costs are going to be unknown to a great extent. We're going to budget for those accordingly. Or we can define the contribution where we say, hey, great, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a certain bucket of money, for example, to spend on whatever eligible expenses that you want, because your family is very different than my family. But we're going to define that contribution, or we're going to do a combination of both. Right? And again, using language as translators, professional advisors that the client understands, and clients understand this type of language. So understanding risks and how to manage them. Well, there are an absolute ton of options, in the marketplace. And, there are I would hazard to guess how many, maybe somebody can help me out with this. How many insurance companies can you, if you have a 15 life case, how many insurance companies can you get to provide you with a quote? Anybody? Ballpark, unmute yourself, please.
10.
10, I think it's probably more than that. Karen, you've been around for a long time. How many insurance companies do you think?
I would not want all 10 of them on my list, but you could probably go to 12.
Yeah, 10 or 12, but you wouldn't want all 10 or 12. And you know what? So the answer is a lot, and how many TPAs can you go to? Well, the answer is quite a few. So you can overwhelm your clients or your prospect with solutions. You can overwhelm them with solutions and options. And it's interesting, and Karen, you made a great point, and thank you. And that trust me, this was not planned, was it? We did not discuss this presentation. No, but it's what's available in the marketplace, and the answer is there's a lot. There's a lot available in the marketplace. The insurance company solutions, third-party administration solutions. The question is, how do you serve this marketplace profitably? And the answer is you get to yes or no quickly. You are the expert. You are the expert. It's time for you to lead the client in a direction in which you want to lead them. Karen, using that example, you said, and I'm reading between the lines, you wouldn't want all 12 of them on your spreadsheet, so to speak, or in your solution to the client. You wouldn't want all 12 of them there because you've already, as the expert, you've already filtered out some of those things. You're saying to the prospect or to your client, you're saying, the reason why we didn't choose ABC Life Insurance Company on the spreadsheet is because I've had a negative experience with them, or their leadership team is faulty, or their track record is poor. So we've just eliminated that off the table for whatever reason. The client's going to go, oh, great, thanks, Karen. Appreciate your effort there. So it's understanding the marketplace and how you serve that marketplace profitably is by leading the conversation. How you do it properly is by leading the conversation and leading the client to a particular solution that makes sense to them, that will fit in the long term, right? That will fit in the long term, as opposed to taking the lowest number on the spreadsheet of 12 companies and 5 TPAs or whatever the number is, and saying, we're going to take this lowest cost one right here, and next year we're going to do it again, and we're going to replace it and move it, right? So it's about leading the conversation, and I think it's important to lead the conversation because you are the expert in this marketplace. There's 440,000 businesses out there, and there's 300,000 arguably, or 250,000, whatever the number is, with less than 100 employees, and these 15 to 20 marketplaces, absolutely enormous. This is a huge, big, giant bubble if we were looking at businesses in Ontario. And a lot of these companies have insurance, a lot of them don't have employee benefits, and they are looking to you as an expert. If you just dabble in this business, that's fine, but if you were an expert in this business, huge opportunities to lead the conversation and lead them in a profitable way. Understanding risks and how to manage them. And I like to say custom solutions are the best. Custom solutions are great. And how you start coming up with custom solutions is talking to the client about their groups within the group and executive benefits. Let's talk about this selfishly to a great extent. You're talking to a client, talk to them about executive benefits. Start at the top down. Whether they've got 15 employees or whether they got 5 employees, it doesn't matter. What are the groups within your group? One of my favorite questions down the path once you get to know your client. Tell me about the groups within your group. And I don't care what your company is. They will have different groups within the group. There'll be an owner or an operator or a general manager. There's someone often that's been with them for some time. That they care a great deal about. There might be other family members in the business. And not all family members are necessarily treated equally. There might be somebody that just joined the organization and someone that's been there for 15 or 20 years. Carrie Lane is with us today, and Carrie and I have worked together for the last 10 years. Now, yeah, I think of Carrie differently than I think of that new employee that we just hired, without a doubt. So there's different. When we look at a solution, what do you want to promise your employees? What are the groups within the group? And let's start off at the executive and work our way down. It's just a logical way to talk to clients is, starting off with the executives and the groups within the group and coming up with a custom solution. The reason why I say is custom solution, right, is it is difficult to replace or impossible to replace. When you have a custom solution in place that the client has bought into, it is difficult for someone to walk along. It's difficult for Karen to walk into your client and, well, there's just sort of getting a call on my phone. I think I'm going to get my air ducts cleaned. But it's, when you walk into when you walk in and you create a custom solution, it's going to be difficult for somebody to come in and replace that. It's going to be impossible, or not impossible, but close to impossible for someone to come in and replace that. They're going to have to move the client in a very different direction that they've chosen, the client has chosen. So it becomes very difficult. It's like saying, hey, we have chosen to go to Tahiti on vacation. We have chosen to go there. We are going to go to Tahiti on vacation. We've researched, we've done this. It's going to work out great. We are going to Tahiti on vacation. Oh, but I've got a better deal to go to the Dominican Republic at an all-inclusive. Well, no, hold on a second. We're talking about apples and luggage here. Two different things. It's going to take you a long time to get off that custom solution. So as I like to say, you got a blank canvas. When you're working with prospects and you're working with clients, you're not talking about plan design necessarily. You're talking about their future and where they're going. And you've got this blank canvas. Whatever they've got in place, if they've got something in place, awesome. But you're starting from a different position. You've got this blank canvas. And the more custom solution, the more difficult it is to replace. Sorry. I want to share with you a couple of case studies, but it's interesting because, when we look at building your own benefit plan, I've put up slides similar to this in front of clients and say, this is a shopping list, right? You can pick and choose. What do you want to promise? Here are things that are available. Group life insurance. It's a fascinating when you have the conversation. When you ask an employer, why do you want to promise, group life insurance? And they go, I don't know. Don't we have to have it? Well, who determines what you have to have? You don't necessarily have to have it. Right? It's interesting. We've got a number of clients that do not offer group life insurance to their employees. They think that's a personal thing. We've got some clients that just provide AD&D coverage because they say, hey, yeah, if you die as a result of an accident, you get hit by a cement truck or a streetcar or something, great. We want to be able to deliver your beneficiary check. But life insurance, you know what? We really think that's a personal decision, and we want you to purchase your own life insurance. Long-term disability, special risk coverage, excess medical stop loss coverage, critical illness, out of country, right? Routine benefits, routine dental, major dental, orthodontia, prescription drugs. All of these are just categories. You can promise what you want. Think about it a little differently. How do you want to build your benefit plan? And you've got that blank canvas to create that custom solution. You add all sorts of services on it to create that custom solution for your clients. So here's a couple of examples that I want to share with you. Again, not a commercial for us, right? But it is, in that 5 to 20 category, which is just taking a couple of examples. So here's a case study, family-owned business, 18 employees. They're equipment operators. They've got an office staff. They've got key employees and long-serving part-time staff as well. So it's kind of a neat company. They've been with us for many, many years. And the advisor, as I like to say, is really happy because it's a super thin file. There's never any issues because of this customized solution that's in place. So after asking a number of questions and so on, and found out where they're going and what's important to them, they operate this business and do it in a unique way, and it's profitable, extraordinarily profitable for them, and they want to take care of their people. The owners and full-time employees, we're giving all of the owners, what they want to promise is $25,000 of life and $25,000 of AD&D. They want to provide them with long-term disability insurance. More specifically, they want their paycheck to continue into perpetuity should they become disabled, the employees become disabled. And as well as that, they want to provide out-of-country emergency travel coverage. Fantastic. The owners and the key employees, in this case, there are 2 owners, and also there are, I believe there are 2 in this particular case, key employees. And how they determine key employees is they are just almost like family. These people have been there for a long time, and they just want to treat them like family because they are like family. They have just an unbelievable amount of trust for these particular employees, and they want to treat them that way. So what they do is they provide them with 100% unlimited health and dental coverage. Again, money's not an issue. It's not about the cheapest solution. It's about providing them with a benefit plan that works for them. So they get 100% health and dental coverage, no co-insurances, no maximums, no deductibles. The individual employee wants to go and get glasses and they're $600 a pair. Great. They get reimbursed $600. If they want to go and get a new pair of glasses with every outfit they buy, terrific. It doesn't matter. For the full-time employees that are not included in that class, they get 80% prescription drug coverage. They get vision care coverage. They get paramedical coverage for a $500 combined annual max. Mental health was really important to these this particular company. So there's 100% mental health practitioner coverage up to $1,000 max. So it's the practitioner, the mental health practitioner coverage. This was really important to them, especially during COVID. And they wanted a separate max, and they wanted any type of mental health care practitioner. It didn't necessarily have to be, what's the example that's commonly used in a traditional employee benefit plan? What's the wording? It's
a clinical psychologist.
Clinical psychologist. Yeah, you to try to get an appointment.
Psychotherapy.
What's that? Sorry.
And psychotherapy.
And psychotherapy. We'll try to get an appointment with a clinical psychologist that meets the definition, right? Like, good luck. So anyways, it can be a family practitioner, family mental health practitioner, a counselor, anybody that does this as a profession, great. They've got covered up to $1,000 a year max. Level basic dental or basic dental level 1. And then what they've done is they put in a healthcare spending account to 2% of earnings. So in this particular organization, they've got 4 people that are 4 full-time employees, 4 people that are in the executive plan, and then the rest are in the employee plan, and they each get 2% of their earnings. And they've got people, because they're operating these machines, and they're quite specialized. And some people that are starting out, for example, in the office, are starting out on the floor in the crux of this operation. They might be starting out at $35,000 a year. Well, fantastic. They're getting $700 in the healthcare spending account versus someone that's making $75,000 a year that's been there for a little while and is an integral part of the organization, right? They're getting $1,500 in their healthcare spending account. So everybody's getting the same benefit in that case, but a little bit different based on their seniority or their specialty within the organization. As well as that, they've got just a couple of really key part-time employees that have been there for many, many years, and they get a $500 healthcare spending account. So there's a unique benefit plan in this particular case, different benefits for different employees within different groups. Again, the groups within the groups, and they've also specialized this feature here with a healthcare spending account equal to 2% of their January 1st earnings. Okay, someone knocks on the door, says, "Hey, it's Rob calling, and I specialize in group insurance. Can I do a market survey and see if I can save you 10% on your rates?" They're going to go, "What are you talking about? Go away." You can't even come up with someone that's going to match this component of it or match this component of it. The executive benefits, the key employee benefits, the 2% of earnings, the healthcare spending account. It's going to be extraordinarily difficult. That list is going to shrink from those 12 cases that Karen Principata was talking, or 12 providers that Karen was talking about, and however many TPAs are out there. That list is going to shrink to 1 or 2 other companies that can do it. And all they're going to do is focus on the administration fee. And if the administration fee is one is X and the other one is Y, well, the difference is 2%. Why would they be looking at this? So all of a sudden, you've isolated that particular case in such a fashion that it's awesome. The owners and the key employees, we formulated this unique executive benefit that includes 100% of everything with no maximums. Mental health was really important to the owner. Really important to the owner. We took care of that. It was a great communication tool that we put together to help them tell their employees that their mental health is critical, and they're going to give them a benefit supporting that. Anyways, it just has worked out extraordinarily well. This company's been around for a while. This is a long-term solution for this particular client. The client loves it, and it's a really thin file for the advisor. Really thin file. You know what the difference between a thin file and a thick file is? Thin files are profitable. Thick files are a pain in the ass and they're not profitable. That's what happens. So anyways, thin file, and every once in a while we ask the same question. If we were meeting here 3 years from today, what has to have happened for you to, etc. And that's where the mental health component came into play. We added that very recently. So awesome plan. Another example, case study number 2, family-owned business with 12 employees, 4 of which are long-standing that the owner would like to acknowledge. Very different plan design, but we put in $25,000 of life after a series of questions, $25,000 of life, $100,000 worth of AD&D insurance. Oh, there's something a little bit different. $100,000 worth of AD&D insurance. This particular business owner, this family-owned business, they saw what happened when somebody died as a result of an accident. They saw what happened when somebody died, or someone that was close to them died as a result of an accident, and it was tragic. It was tragic. What they wanted to do was increase the accidental death and dismemberment insurance to a meaningful amount, so they could give that family money when they needed it the most, when they were sort of caught off guard. They wanted to provide $25,000 of critical illness insurance and out-of-country emergency travel coverage. For the owners, for the family, the number of different people within the family, they were all added at 100% unlimited health and dental benefits. So 100% for glasses, for vision care, for laser eye surgery, for dental, etc. Full-time employees, they gave them a prescription drug benefit of $5,000. They wanted to give them, that benefit with the drug card. Here's your drugs, $5,000. And then they said, really, we don't want to get involved in deciding what we should have 80% of this or 80% of that. The discussion led us in a way that they said, hey, we want to take care of these 4 employees that have been with us for a long time. We want to give them $5,000 in a healthcare spending account, and then we want to layer it based on years of service. 3 to 5 years of service, $2,500. Less than 3 years of service, $1,250. So using this example, it met their needs. It met their needs considerably because of these differences in the healthcare spending account amounts. Right now, someone's going to say, "Hey, what about long-term disability?" It wasn't something that was important to them historically. More importantly, it wasn't. They had long-term disability. They surveyed their employees, and the employees did not want to continue to pay the long-term disability benefits. They understood. Agree with it, disagree with it. It's the client's decision. Right? It's his client's decision. We have to be translators, and we have to share with them our knowledge and our wisdom, and then they make their decision. They were very comfortable with adding the $25,000 of critical illness insurance. So there's again, this is a very different type of plan design than the one that I just showed you. It's a very different type of plan design than one would be considered a traditional plan design. But again, it's the business owners that make the decision, and they were very comfortable with this. The philosophy that they had with this particular case, it was interesting, is the business owner was saying 80% of the costs in a traditional plan are driven by 20% of the population. 80% of the costs in a traditional plan are driven by 20% of the population. If we reverse this, 80% of the people are going to get plan improvement with this type of plan design, and 20% of the population might be a little bit pissed off. Well, guess what? Some of those people were in this category here, and they're very happy with the flexibility. So this particular group within the group, the result is the owner was able to budget accordingly without any surprises. With this plan design, forget about the owners being 100%, because that's just trading money. This particular plan design, the client is able to budget very effectively. This is 80% of their costs, and the rest of it might be 20% of their costs. But the client is able to budget very, very effectively, so there aren't any surprises, any large fluctuations year over year. The healthcare spending accounts are based on years of service, rewarding long service employees, and is retention oriented. They wanted to, have people staying with the particular company. And it's interesting, they, $2,500 to $5,000 is quite a difference. It's double. So all of a sudden, you're at that 4.5 year mark, you're at that 4 year mark, you're looking into the future. When you're getting that 5 year itch, all of a sudden they're saying, hey, great, you know what? Sorry, there's a typo there. It should be 3 to 10 years. 3 to 10 years, Carrie, let's make a note of that. 3 to 10 years of service, pardon me. But you get close to that, and you want to stay on. Employees are able to allocate the funds, to what's important to them. It's interesting. I'm on the call with Mike Ignatz, for example, at our company. Well, Mike's got 2 children. I don't have I still have one that's left on the benefit plan, but I'm considerably older than Mike. My benefit needs are different. I have the over 50 app that I use frequently. Here they are right here. I call it the over 50 app. So I need glasses. Mike doesn't because he's young, right? I need physiotherapy or massage therapy because I continually hurt myself, right? Doing things that I think, I could do when I'm younger. So there are different, could use those benefits accordingly. It's as simple as that. You're able to allocate the funds that to the benefits that are important to them. They like that flexibility and like that simplicity. So moving right along as we're running low on time here, again, 15 minutes to go. The facts of the matter is sometimes we get asked questions about this, pardon me. Executive benefits, they're 100% covered. There's a significant tax advantage to that. It's 100% covered. And again, no co-insurances, no maximums, no deductibles, nothing. It's 100% coverage. I mean, you think about that. Like I said, I wear glasses. I call them the over 50 app. Well, I went to my eye doctor just over a year ago, and I got a new prescription. And I only use these when I'm using my computer, right? And I got the new prescription. I sat down to get new glasses with the person that was helping me, and I chose these particular glasses, and then I ordered 3 pair because I'm lazy and I lose things. So I said, I want to get 3 pair, and I want to put one in my home office and one in my office and one in my computer bag. So I always know where they are. I don't have to think about them. So the 3 pair of glasses were $1,800 or $1,600 or whatever they were. I don't remember. But the fact of the matter is I was going to buy those whether I had a benefit plan or not. I was going to buy those because I didn't want to lose my glasses. I just wanted them to always be there so I didn't have to fight with myself about that. That's a decision that I made. It's not because I had a benefit plan. It's a decision that I made. Business owners make decisions like this. So show them a way that they could pay for those things in a tax advantage manner. Yeah, the cost of my benefit plan went up by $1,600 or $1,800 because it's just strictly reimbursement. Simple as that. But guess what? I paid for that with tax deductible dollars, and I, got them tax free. Makes a great deal of sense. Touch the claim once. Yeah, I could run that through a traditional program with Canada Life, and then, I'd have to fill out a cost plus claim form. Well, that's fantastic. That doesn't work. I'll save that and do it tomorrow because I'm busy. I'll save it and do it tomorrow. Save it and do it tomorrow. Save it and do it tomorrow. Then they never do it. And then the advisor reminds them once a year, and then they can't find half the receipts and they forget about it and they go, this doesn't work. Our philosophy is touch it once, submit the claim, get reimbursed. It's awesome. Not a shareholder benefit. It's just a benefit in their benefit plan. And as long as other employees, and they've got 5 to 20 employees in this category, as long as other employees are participating in a benefit plan that they are a part of, it's never been challenged as a shareholder benefit. The other thing is once they drink the Kool-Aid, right? Once they drink the Kool-Aid, it is, once they drink it and they touch it once and they see that it's all covered, it's awesome. We got a lot of plans where the employer is actually, the employer's claims are almost as much as the employees combined, right? They're going to do that anyway. It's just a tax advantage way of doing it. Reporting and accounting considerations. Well, you know what? When you go to a store and you go to Metro, for example, or Farm Boy, or wherever you do your shopping, right? You get a receipt. Richard, when you go across the road and go to the Pickle Barrel for dinner, right? You get a receipt. You had, this entree, and your spouse had that entree, and you had 2 glasses of wine and you shared a dessert. You get a receipt. Well, we provide a receipt on a monthly basis. And I don't expect you to look at this because it's not that clear. I can blow it up a touch, but it's a bit better. But, here's a receipt. And we haven't changed this in years because it works. Well, the client sent us $7,000, $7,201.21 in a particular month. Then we paid out, insurance paid, we paid out $224.83 in life insurance premiums and $984.75 in long-term disability premiums, $156 in stop-loss premiums, and $36.90 in travel assistance. Well, great. So we paid out that many dollars, $1,400 to insurance companies. Then we paid out in total claims. Again, we're not saying who claimed what. We paid out total claims of $4,109.32 in claims for that particular month. we paid out $970 in plan operation costs, which include your commissions, for a balance of $719. The client's got $719 in their particular account for that particular month, a running total year to date of $2,306.48. Previous year to date, they had a deficit of $7,476.74. The client knows where they are financially at any point in time. Clients own the surpluses and they own the deficits. It's just a budgeting process, just like the heating on your heating bill at home. Richard mentioned that when we were talking earlier. You know, if it's a cold winter, your heating costs go up. If it's a warm winter, your heating costs go down. Pretty simple, right?
I have a quick question on that, Rob.
Yeah.
Do you ever break it down kind of per certificate? Because obviously if the company's doubled, they might look at that and say, whoa, our premiums have doubled. What's happened? And it's just the employee count has changed.
Thank you very much. It's a great question. That was Blake, right?
It was, yep.
Yeah, Blake, appreciate the question. Great question. The answer is we do that on an annualized basis. Not on a monthly basis. You do it on an annualized basis, right? But you can, you know, so all of a sudden that you can say, hey, they're, you know, this is just a monthly snapshot, but on an annual basis, they see where they are year over year in relation to the population changing and so on. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So it's about eliminating surprises. And if I had more time, I'd share with you a great surprise that happened, but it's about eliminating surprises. And it's interesting, you know, when we were talking earlier about those thin files, we have discussions with clients. I was with a particular advisor and I went to see the client and help with the renewal. And all we did was spend time talking about his family and his recent trip to Italy and his daughter coming from Australia. And then he goes, I don't know why we're here to talk about the employee benefit plan. It works great. And we know exactly where we stand and there's no surprises. Anyways, this is a great tool that happens on a monthly basis. We send this out to all of our clients. We send this out to all of the advisors. Everybody's aware. All of a sudden, you know, Blake, to your point, if something's going out of whack, you know, something's going out of whack here, it's a quick telephone call. It's everybody having a look at it and saying, yeah, it's going out of whack because all of a sudden your population just tripled, right? Or whatever the circumstances are. Tax consideration, all benefit plan costs are tax deductible business expenses. As we all know, extended healthcare and dental care benefits are tax-free. They're received tax-free. Again, that executive component is critical for everybody to understand that. We strongly recommend business owners receive 100% unlimited plans. We strongly recommend that. Once they understand that and they see it and they feel it and they taste it and drink the Kool-Aid, they think it is just absolutely awesome. Sometimes, depending on the circumstances, we recommend healthy healthcare spending accounts to business owners because their spouse might have a plan, and a healthcare spending account always pays last. So depending on the circumstances and the family dynamics, you can use healthcare spending accounts with business owners, but because of the tax consideration, you want to use their plan first, but to do it according to the CLHLA guidelines, you want to use their plan first and then use the healthcare spending account as the last payer. So that makes a great deal of sense, as simple as that. Benefits are part of compensation. You know, be creative when designing benefits for your clients. Be creative. They're just part of compensation. You know, I mentioned we just hired a new person yesterday. This person is starting in the next couple of days. Well, fantastic. She's 20 something years old, young 20s, right? I've been doing this for 30 some odd years now, right? I've been licensed since 1988. I can't even do the math because it's too much. But does she deserve the same compensation plan that I get? No, not at all. If we had the same benefit plan, that would be actually discriminatory. It would be discriminatory against me. So think about that from your client's perspective. I'm just using that as a real live example because it happened yesterday, right? Our benefit plan is a little bit, my benefit plan personally is a little bit different than what she's going to be offered as a new employee, and which is going to be a little bit different than what Mike gets, who's been, Mike, how long have you been with us now?
17 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And you would be pissed off if that person got the exact same benefits as you, right?
I'm always pissed off.
Yeah, you're always pissed off. Oh my gosh, Mike said something that's true. Yeah. But you know, benefits are part of compensation. So make them part of compensation. Be creative when you're designing a benefit plan. So, folks, we got a few minutes left, 5 minutes left. Let's talk about, in the summary is understanding where your client is going. It's so critical. It's understanding. I saw a lot of people sort of nodding their heads, it's understanding where the client is going. Karen, I got to know where you're going. And the only reason why I'm picking on you is because you're on my screen here, right? And I got to know where you're going in order to be able to help you. If I don't know where you're going, I can't help you, right? And I think the best way to do that is to ask that question. If we were meeting here 3 years from today and you were looking back over those 3 years to today, what has to have happened for you to say it's been the best 3 years of your life, right? What do you want to promise your employees? Simple language, powerful language. What do you want to promise your employees? We're going to send you a monthly report, just like a sales receipt, every single month. And that's going to eliminate surprises. Because guess what? Business owners don't like surprises, right? The last thing is, 100% plans work. Simple as that. 100% plans work for executives, for owners, for highly compensated people, motivated salespeople that are earning lots of money. 100% plans work, right? Great retention tools, great way to compensate super employees, the ones that wear the capes, right? It works. So let me stop sharing this thing. We got a couple of minutes left and we can stick around after as well, and we'll stop the recording after as well. But anybody have any questions, thoughts, ideas? I didn't have a chance to go through all of these chats, but I think probably Mike and Carrie and Rob have. But anybody have any questions or thoughts or ideas or comments? 67 people on the call. Thank you very much. Anybody? Thoughts?
Rob, I have a question.
Yeah.
With regards to, I noticed one of the comments you made was if a spouse has a benefit plan, you might want the executive on a health spending account. And I assume that's to get around the coordination of benefits?
Yep.
So,
That's exactly.
Okay, so is your understanding that if you have a coordination of, if you have a health spending account, that you do not need to declare that with the insurer when they ask you if you have coverage?
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to know. I hadn't thought about that.
That is our understanding. A healthcare spending account is always the last payor. So what we've done in certain cases, again, very specific cases, the executive does not participate. The executive is not participating in the health and dental benefit program. They just have a healthcare spending account for that particular class, right? And he uses his spouse's plan in this particular example. His spouse's plan is used first. And then anything that is not covered under the spouse's plan, they use for the healthcare spend. They put through the healthcare spending account.
Got it. Thanks for explaining that.
And it's been a while since I did any direct administration of groups, but it used to be that insurance companies would sometimes ask us for confirmation that it was a healthcare spending account because they've indicated on their enrollment form with the other company that they have family coverage, but we can certainly provide that confirmation if necessary.
Actually, if I could jump in, it's actually our standard operating procedure. If it's just a healthcare spending account, we'll and the employee is newly added, we'll actually automatically print out a letter and email it to them or send it to them right away. So if a new group joins and it's just HSA, we'll preemptively make that letter and send it right out to them just to help with that.
Awesome. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas? Any last thoughts? Well, folks, it's the best time to sell employee benefits. Clients need us, right? Clients need us. It's as simple as that. There are 440,000 businesses in Ontario with less than 100 employees. This is where the money is, as Willie Sutton would say. This is where the money is, folks. Let's go out and sell some employee benefits. If we're doing business together, thank you very much for your continued business. If we're not doing business together, we'd love to. Visit us at thebenefitstrust.com. We've been around since 1994. We're a full service third-party administration firm. We work with advisors like you. Simple as that. We're going to send you a CE credit, or more specifically, Mike Ignatz is going to send you a CE credit for participating today. Number one. Number two, we're going to send you a real short survey. Please fill it out. Tell us how we did today and how we can do it better tomorrow. We're going to be back on Thursday with another Zoom session. If you haven't participated in this one, it's about the building and construction industry in Ontario. Very unique, very, very unique. You can't have something that's very unique. It's either unique or not. Yes, so it's a unique presentation for a unique industry in Ontario. So make sure you check that out if you haven't done so already. We're doing that Thursday. Check out our website for future Zoomcasts. Thank you for your time. It is now 11 o'clock and we are done. We'll stick around for a few more minutes and answer any other questions if you want to ask offline, but we are stopping the recording. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. Bye for now.